He thinks about the passage of time and his dreams.
Hello, Eddie B from Digital Moxie coming at you. I was asking the question today, am I the oldest guy on the job? As I was looking around today, I was working with guys that were in their 20s, in their 30s, in their early 40s, and one or two guys maybe in their mid to late 40s. And at that point I realized, like, I'm 56, I'm in my mid 50s. I've been doing this trade for over 25 years. And you start realizing your limitations. And the thing is that taking care of your body is of the utmost importance. And I started chit-chatting with these guys. A lot of these kids are about the age of, the younger ones were about the age of my children. And then I just started realizing, like, man, I'm one of the old guys now. I mean, I can see it in the jobs that I get. I could just tell all of a sudden that some of the jobs that I would take on with no problem at all, they pass them out to the younger guys. Some people would say that's paying your dues. But in a lot of ways, accepting that role in your life is difficult. Because we never want to think that we're getting old. We never want to think that we're getting put on a shelf or we're becoming irrelevant. Because we're all there making the same amount of money and we still feel like we need to contribute. So I started realizing that I was starting to be the old guy when my health took a turn for the worse. I got sick, and then I realized that I wasn't rebounding as fast as I normally would. And it took me, if I get my back bothers me now, my joints started bothering me. So these were all telltale signs that, yeah, I'm slowing down, whether I realize it or not. As an individual, you don't feel like you're getting old, but I guarantee you're getting old. And, I got a lot of good guys that I work with, and they, we bust balls a lot. But, if you can sit there and you can take it and you work side by side with them and you can share your wisdom or the knowledge you have, then there'll be a mutual respect there as always. And the thing is that in the trades, it's a brotherhood. So, I just happen to be one of the older brothers. And I've been on a good job. And this job has given me a lot of awakenings, like where I realize my health is so important to me that I have no problem missing a day if I have to go to a doctor's appointment. I have no problem not pushing myself, exerting myself if I don't feel like I have the strength to do it. And a lot of times that, we're programmed to go the opposite, to push past a lot of these things. But the thing is this, there's no job on this planet that's worth you getting hurt or injured in order, there's just not, you can't replace what you lose once you cross that bridge. And I realized that, when I was younger, I could lift things up no problem. But now I got to make sure that my feet are anchored and I can handle the weight or keep my balance and move forward. But the reality is that I won't do that as much as I used to, and I definitely won't do it without any help. So along the way, when you start slowing down, you start realizing that you might need some help. You don't want to dislocate your back. You don't want a herniated disc. And the reality of it is that my back started bothering me, and I was laying down one day, and I twisted a certain way. And I heard a crack in the whole spine, just like, I hurt myself just laying there and just trying to straighten out my back because, your posture, those discs, when they start compressing in your back, it's painful. And, you're looking for some kind of comfort. And I'll tell you right now, when I was in the hospital, I had other issues that I was taking care of. I had the scare with my kidneys. I had the scare with my blood being toxic, and those things to me are on top of the list as far as me taking care of my health. When I said my blood was toxic, it became septic. I was going home one day, and it was during the winter, and I felt like my body started telling me, like, dude, you're gonna get sick. I started feeling like body aches and a fever coming, and I was gonna go home and cook a big meal, and I just decided, no, I need to go lay down. So 2-3 days later, I got up, I wasn't feeling the best. I had my kid help me out a little bit, and I drove back to work, and I was at work, and I just couldn't go through the day. I was sick. I was still sick. Because when you work a big project, you don't want to be missing time, and we were making good money. It was on a weekend. I wanted to push through and earn that money, but that's one thing that taught me was you got to take care of your health. Your health is more vital and more important than you realize. So when I got home, I didn't go home. I went to my apartment. I went to the hotel I was staying in. And my friend, before I left to work, my friend told me, like, look, dude, you gotta go see a doctor. You're really sick. And I believed him that time, because the other times, the way we're programmed is just like to tough it out. You're gonna be okay. So I ended up going to the hospital. It took me almost 3 hours just to get out of the bed, get dressed. I was just like, just couldn't do it. Just didn't have the strength. I was feeling horrible. I had no one there to take care of me. And the thing is this, everybody always needs somebody, and I didn't have nobody there. And I'm sure if I would have made a phone call, I could have had somebody there, but you don't realize that, how sick you are until you are sick. So I get to the hospital, they take my vitals, and the lady tells me, like, oh, I can't believe you're standing up. Do you need a wheelchair? I goes, no, I can still walk. But the thing is this, I got mad about it because, like, if you're looking at my vitals and you say there's no way you should be standing up, sit down, sir, let's get you a chair. That didn't happen. I still ended up getting walked. I still ended up walking, to a certain area, and then they took me upstairs. But the thing is that, I wasn't too impressed with the hospital's customer service or the way they handle things, So I get in there and I'm thinking, like, okay, man, I'm just gonna be here a couple days. I ended up being there like 3 weeks. They almost didn't release me. Sometimes you go into these hospitals and it's like a prison, because they're responsible. They have liability over you, and then you're thinking, like, man, my insurance is paying for this, and I hate to say it, but I started thinking about money and cents. Even though after everything was said and done, those few weeks cost about $70,000, which got paid by my insurance. So ever since that day, that time in February, I made it a point to start going to the doctor, getting my blood checked out. That was another thing. My hemoglobin, my blood levels were so low that they was like thinking, like, well, why is this guy still walking? And the thing is, I don't know if, I was a little jaundiced, and then I had this other stuff going on. So it was a conglomeration of a lot of things. My body started destroying itself. Started attacking my kidneys, started attacking different parts of my body. And, it was going for my organs, man. And luckily I got in there in time, and I got antibiotics, and I was nursed back to health. Well, when I left, I tried getting out of there. I didn't want to stay there super long, because I'm out of town, I'm working. Then I'm in the hospital. I'm out of town, staying in that hospital, still paying my hotel room. And the thing is, like, I'm not making any money. So, I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta get back to work, even if I'm not 100%. Because that's the truth of reality of our lives. I gotta pay the bills. I gotta take care of my family. I gotta take care of myself. So even the first day I went back, after being gone for like 3 weeks, I thought I was gonna pass out. That's when we found out that, my hemoglobin was so low. I couldn't believe that they didn't check it in the hospital like they should have. And the thing is that that same week I was given a blood I had to go back. They kept me in the hospital again. They gave me blood transfusions. They wanted to see my levels go up. See, when I was a younger child, I had an operation with my intestines. So consequently, my body doesn't absorb all the nutrients it's supposed to absorb, and it doesn't make my blood levels as high as they should be. But I've been able to maintain. I'm 56 years old. I've been able to maintain a pretty decent lifestyle. It's got its downs, but there's certain things I gotta make sure that I'm taking care of. But that's part of living. Everybody has their own issues. When I was in the hospital, they were talking about putting me on dialysis. I was like, whoa, slow down. Because what I heard is once you get on dialysis, you're on that forever. And that's a pretty big step. So after everything's said and done, I kept going to work. I lost like 25 pounds. And I looked like the Walking Dead, because I was pale as a sheet. And slowly but surely, everything started coming back together. It's not 100%. I'm not perfect, but I'm closer to where being healthy than I was when I wasn't healthy. And the thing is now it's about monitoring and being on top of my medical, because I don't want to go through that again. I didn't realize that, I didn't realize I had become that fragile, and that all comes with your body starts changing and it starts acting different when you get older. And that's exactly what happened to me. And the weird thing about that, in the last month, prior to that, or last 2 months, like 3 of my cousins died. And I was thinking like, wow, 2 were younger than me and 1 was older than me. And it's like, I could have been one of those casualties, and I'm just grateful that I'm not. So a lot of times, when I look at things, I have a greater level of gratitude, when I see my grandkid, or if I'm hanging out with family members. Those are things that I cherish even more. And then, like I said, these medical scares, who's to say? Who's to say from everything that happened? I even had a colonoscopy. I had a bone marrow taken out of my body. That stuff hurts, man. The bone marrow extraction, it's not pleasant. They put me under. I was like in a twilight field when they did that. They took a biopsy of my kidney, and they extracted bone marrow from me. And all that is because at first, this medical deal is like, they're saying like, we gotta see why your body's not making blood. Do you have cancer? Do you have leukemia? Do you have some kind of issue? And I in my heart of hearts, I says, I don't have that, because of the way my body is. It's something that I don't produce a lot of, but it keeps me at a maintained level. And I thank God for that, because I might get run down from time to time. I just gotta rest and make sure that I'm taking the proper medication in order to keep me going. And that's the thing now. Is before I would just like skimp on doctor appointments, but not anymore. I'm a converted person, and I realize the value of taking care of yourself, because life is precious, and the quality of life means everything. What good is it to be wealthy and have no health? Then you're truly not a wealthy person. Just to be able to get up and take a walk, or not to feel aches and pains, that's a blessing. And a lot of people live with pain. A lot of people have to deal with a lot of these procedures just to live a normal life. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody. And I am the oldest guy on the job, on the crew, and a lot of it comes with being, when you're getting old, your body starts breaking down. That's why I ended up telling everybody about the issues with my body. So this is just a friendly a public service announcement. Make sure you make regular doctor appointments and take care of your health. Eat well and be well. So that's it. See you on the next one.